Welcome to the channel. This is the new Kia Sorento for 2025. Now the big question is, should you get this or should you get something else? Let's be honest, first of all, this is a big SUV and it's got 3 rows in it, but it's also a really good SUV and I've really enjoyed my time with this car and I'm going to tell you why in this video. Let's talk about the top 5 features of this car. Now the first thing that I really like is these new daytime running lights, and these are very much looking like they're from the same family as the EV9, which this is essentially the non-EV version of. I mean, this was around before the EV9, so I guess you could say the EV9 is the EV version of this, but they have the similar design at the front here. And then I love these stacked lights. I think they look really mean at the front. So that's my first thing, this new design at the front. The next thing I love is these wheels. Now, this might not seem like a big thing, but these are 19-inch wheels. You cannot get 19-inch wheels in the US. Weirdly, it comes with 18 inches at best, but there's 19 in the UK. I do love this design. This is very, again, reminiscent of the EV9, and you can see all these design traits going from the EV9 to this car, or maybe the other way. I don't know which one was designed first, but interesting. The next thing I love about this car is the engine, or more precisely, the fact that it is a hybrid, plug-in hybrid car. So we've got a 1.6 litre petrol engine, which they call the Smart Stream G on here, and it has 34 miles of electric-only range, which means you can drive along in EV-only mode and not use any petrol. And then when you need to recharge it, just plug it in and charge it. So just like other hybrids, it means you can drive it as an EV-only car, depending on the distances you're driving. And talking about technology, this car has automated lane change with the Highway Assistant 2. I guess 2 is better than Highway Assistant 1, but regardless, this can change lanes by itself on certain roads. Just indicate and it changes automatically. Pretty cool. Not many cars do that. We're starting to see it on all the newest Kias and also on the newest Hyundais and Genesis cars, but it's still quite a rare thing to see. Number 5 on my list is this fingerprint scanner, which you can just tap with your finger and it will change your driver profile, which includes your seat settings and position, and also your media settings and anything else you want to change in here. And you can also use your phone as a key on this car using Apple Car Key, which is very cool. And I love that you can then share your car key with other people who you want to loan the car to drive, and you don't actually need your key. And it exists in the Apple Wallet, and it can also work with Android as well. This is a 7-seater SUV, and so it is a big car. It's around 4.8 meters long, it's 1.7 meters high, and it's 1.9 meters wide. So this is a big car, but what I would say is driving it, which we'll talk about when I start driving it, is actually pretty great because there are a 360-degree camera system, there's loads of sensors, and you have pretty good visibility all around, even though it is a big car. And the suspension is fantastic. Really good. Now this is something I find very interesting. It's an interesting design feature coming up with this aluminium finish, and it kind of comes up and it meets here to kind of balance it out. It's an interesting feature. I like how it looks. I can't quite understand it, but it works. So just wanted to draw your attention to that. Interesting. Are you worried about your online data? Well, I have a solution which means you don't have to worry at all. It's called Aura, who are the sponsor of today's video. Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests for me, which is a fantastic feature. You may already have 1 or 2 of these tools, such as a VPN or a password manager, but Aura has it all in one, and it's fantastic value. Aura is always working to keep you safe in the background so you can concentrate on other things which are more important in life. I value my privacy and I value your privacy. So go to aura.com/techinthecar for a free 2-week trial. Let's talk about the design at the back of this car. We've got these cool N-shaped lights, which I like. We've got this silver aluminium finish, and then we've got the space in the rear of this car, which is a very substantial 809 litres of space with the rear row down. If you put the rear seats up, then it's 175 litres of space, which is a lot less. There is no space under this floor. There's a tiny little space there for the battery, but there's not really a lot there. But sitting in the back, you'll see, well, you see when I sit in the back, but there are cup holders, USB Type-Cs, and there's even its own climate control zone. So in the back, it's going to be pretty comfortable. And of course, you have your tonneau cover if you want to cover up what's in the back. So nice and spacious. And we do have, of course, the button to close it. And we also have an auto off button, which means it's not going to close on your head, which is quite a good thing. I doubt you're asking yourself how many cameras at the back of the Sorento, but the answer to that question is 2. There's one here and there's one here. Now, one of those is for the 360-degree camera system and one is for the reversing camera system. But I'm guessing that when you swap between the two on the system, it uses both. That is the only thing that makes sense to me, although I don't think you can choose which is which. But let's check that out in a second when we get in the car. Let's talk about the charging now. So this can do either 3-pin charging or it can do type 2 AC charging up to 7.2 kilowatts. You can't use a CCS charging connector because it's not CCS, so it limits your choice of public chargers. And at home, you're only getting, I found, around 3 kilowatts to charge on that, even at maximum rate, and my charger does up to 7 kilowatts. That's enough to charge this in between 3 and 5 hours, and it's got a 13.8 kilowatt hour battery in the car, which, like I said, is good for the 34 miles of WLTP range. So it is really great, but there are some things to think about when you talk about a hybrid, a few limitations to consider with public charging. Not that you need it, it is a hybrid and you can just use the engine. The back of this car is why you buy one of these cars. It's a 7-seater and you want to have enough space for you and 7 people in this car. So let's look at the space in the second row. So first of all, I'm 1.78 meters. I've got a lot of space above my head. I've got a lot of space between my knees. This is a driving position. We've got a cup holder here. We've got heated seats. We've got a blind too if you want to block out the sunlight, which I don't want to. We've got a massive glass opening panoramic sunroof, which provides a lot of light, which makes it feel very spacious. We've got some netting here, and we've got, of course, a charger down there, cigarette charger. No USBs down there, but there are 2 USB-Cs in the side of the seats here. And being as this is one of these cars, you can press the button on the seat to move it forwards and backwards and adjust its position. Very, very handy. And then we also have space here where you can put your cups in the cup holders there. How about the back row? Let's jump back there and test it out. Let's test out that third row to see how it works. So we've got electric sliding seats here which go back. Now I've pulled these seats down in front because I want you to be able to see me. That's kind of important. But what is it like back here? Well, I fit, obviously. This was in the seated position before. I've still got a lot of knee room, although my knees are very, very high. I can obviously adjust the height of the headrest back here as well. I do have, like I said, a space here for drinks. I've got my own climate control, rear AC, and I've got a 12 volt and I've got 2 USBs. The front of the Sorento is where this car really takes off because we've got 2 12.3 inch displays here on the 4 trim. On the other trims, the smaller screen is there for the driver display, but the infotainment stays the same. And it's a very simple, easy to use system. We've got our multi-mode system here where I can tap this button here and I can change the buttons so they're either climate control or media infotainment controls. We've got our gear selector, mode selector here. Down here we have our drive modes where I can go from eco sport to smart mode. And then we've also got snow, mud and sand, so you can use this off-road. We've got our EV HEV button, so you can either choose to drive it straight on EV mode, which will go 34 miles on a full charge. And we've got our amazing 360-degree camera system, which works great. We've got a hill hold assist, so you can again use this off-road too. And I love this switch down here by my knees, which lets me change between cooled and heated seats. It's very simple to use. And it's really, really clever. You just tap it and it goes to 1, 2 or 3 on the heated or cooled and then off. Really, really like that a lot. And then we've got our fingerprint sensor down here, which lets me change our mode using my fingerprint, which I've mentioned. We've got really nice steering wheel with all the controls on it. And you have really comfortable seats where you can manually adjust the side bit here. I'm doing it on the seat I've got here because I can't reach over there. But that will also do it automatically when you change to sport mode or you go over a certain speed. And these seats also will automatically turn on and stretch you if you've been driving for a long time, so your back feels a lot better. And it's got lumbar support built in too. We've got a 12-speaker Bose system on this trim, which is really, really good. And the interior materials feel decent for the price. They're soft plastic and some nice design features. And of course, we've got the lighting, the ambient lighting across this car. So really, really nice interior. We've also got wireless charging and we've got the cool buttons here, which let you change between charging and using the data for Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, wireless built in, of course, on here too. And we've got this massive panoramic sunroof, which lets in a lot of light and opens too, which makes the inside feel very, very airy. So a really nice interior, and it makes it a pleasure to drive. Let's talk engines and powertrains. You've got diesel, which starts at 41,000, a petrol hybrid, which starts at 42,000, and the plug-in hybrid, which starts at 47,000. And depending on the trim you have, 2, 3, or 4, it will increase the price. This model behind me is a 4 trim plug-in hybrid, and it's about £55,000. So there's a lot of variation here. Interior equipment is very, very generous, but obviously everything that you want the most of is on this car here, the 4 trim. Otherwise, you're missing out on some things like the bigger screen for the driver side. I think personally, they should all be the same size. You shouldn't be having a smaller screen, but that's what Kia are doing. However, the infotainment screen remains the same on all of them. In terms of efficiency, I think if you're looking at a value proposition for efficiency, then diesel is a way to go. However, if you're looking for the option to drive in electric only mode, then this plug-in hybrid is the best option with the best efficiency. Let's just talk about the powertrain on here. We've got a 1.6 litre petrol with 248 horsepower and about 357 newton meters of torque. And in terms of efficiency, well, that depends on whether you drive in EV mode or hybrid mode or just in petrol mode. That changes depending on that, but it is a very efficient car. Depending also on if you have the diesel, that's got a bigger engine, it's a 2.2 litre engine, or petrols are all 1.6, but that's up to you to decide. The battery and electric part stays the same on the plug-in hybrid. It's a 13.8 kilowatt hour battery, which is good for 34 miles of WLTP electric only range. But the battery also works with the engine to supplement it when the battery level is too low for it to run on EV only mode as well. So you've got the best of both worlds with this hybrid. Let's start off talking about EV only mode, because we have 34 miles of it here. We've got our EV HEV button. If I tap it, it goes automatic, hybrid, or electric mode. We're in electric only mode now. I've got these paddles here, which will let me do our regen braking. Right now, it doesn't let me do it because the battery is 99% charged. But when the battery drops down lower, it will let me do it. How does it respond as an EV? It feels pretty fast, pretty responsive. Remember, in total, this car has around 250 horsepower and 367 newton meters of torque. So it's not a slow car. 250 horsepower is pretty good for any car. And I think it's a sweet spot where you get really good performance and efficiency in an EV. I think less than that, maybe you struggle to overtake. This has got more than enough in this top trim 4 model plug-in hybrid. One thing that really impresses me in this car is the suspension. There are a lot of big holes in the road here in England. That's very, very common. And yet I'm going over them like they're not there. I'm not feeling them. It doesn't matter. So the suspension on this car is really, really good. And in terms of steering, if we put it into sport mode, so we get a bit more power and a bit more urgency with the accelerator, then what you get is you get a car which actually feels, for a big SUV, quite sporty. Don't get me wrong, it's not a sports car, but the suspension means most of the bumps in the road, you don't feel them. And on top of that, we have this really, really, I think, quite good steering, where if you turn from side to side, the car responds very, very well. So I'm very impressed with that. Now, if we go into smart mode, it's now going to choose to use either hybrid or automatic, but you can see what's going on in the car by looking at this really interesting graphic, which is under the settings. I can see I'm still at 99% battery, still have an EV range of 34 miles, and I can see whether the power is going from the battery to the motors or from the engine to the motors. So I've got a lot of flexibility there, and when I press the brake, it sends the power back to the motors at the back. When I press the accelerator, it sends it to the front. I'm obviously not going fast enough right now, or the battery level is so high that it doesn't feel the need to use the hybrid mode and to kick on the engine. If I put my foot down, then you can see the engine turns on and the power goes from both the battery and the electric motor to the front of the car. So we've got the best of both, and it works very well. This car has 248 horsepower, 367 newton meters of torque, 8.8 seconds Kia say to 60. Let's test it out now. 1, 2, 3. We're in sport mode. We're going. Wow, it gave me a bit of a kick going. There's no doubt about that. Are we going to get there? 40, 50, 7.55 seconds. So it did it in 7.55 seconds. That's faster than the 0.8 seconds, Kia says, to 60. So well done. You did it quicker than you were meant to. That's brilliant. That's a new Kia Sorento for 2025. It's got a lot of cool updates. It looks a lot more aggressive. It's got a lot of interior changes. It's got the latest technology. It's really efficient. If you're after a 7-seater that isn't an EV, then you should definitely look at one of these. And if you are after one which is an EV, look at the EV9, because that is basically this, just electric only. Please give this video a like and subscribe for more on the channel. And to see other videos, please look here and here. Thanks for watching.